Hey everyone, and welcome to the 13th episode of Pre-Race Pulse right here on Racing America. Thanks so much for tuning in every single week to get the latest NASCAR news and, of course, the preview for race weekend ahead. And this weekend, NASCAR is headed to two different tracks, the Truck Series at IRP and the Xfinity and Cup Series at the Brickyard Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But before we preview the race weekend, let's get into our latest NASCAR news. It's officially official. NASCAR's top three national touring series are headed to the streets of San Diego in 2026, marking NASCAR's return to Southern California. This means Truck, Xfinity, and Cup are all going to be racing on the Naval Base Coronado during Father's Day weekend next year, celebrating the Navy's 250th anniversary. Of course, I'm a little bummed that Chicago will not be on the schedule anymore. That track announcing that they would not return in 2026, but they're taking a year off to assess the event, improve it, with hopes to return in 2027. But my goodness, this event seems so cool. I think I'm going to be able to go, so I'm very excited. But the return to Southern California, 1. 2, celebrating the Navy's 250th is incredible. 3, I'm very excited to see the layout for this event. It has not been announced yet, but it should be announced sometime later this fall, and we'll keep you up to date on all of this on Racing America. But let's move on to our second piece of news that I felt was pretty important to mention: a mid-season rule change in the NASCAR rulebook. This is nothing new. We've seen mid-season rule changes before. However, this one is particularly noteworthy to me because NASCAR, in their discretion, has limited the field size of an event to 40 cars. And in the instance of open cars, a maximum of 6 open cars will be allowed in the field based on owners' points standings. Now, why does this matter? The federal antitrust lawsuit is why this matters. It would prevent 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports from missing a field because of a field size being over 40 cars. Given that the teams were denied their preliminary injunction, this was big to have in the rule book, changing it up so these teams are guaranteed entry into the field for NASCAR without the other, bonuses of what the charter would grant them. So if you were concerned at least that your favorite drivers from Front Row or 2311 would miss an event because of all of this, that will not be the case this season. But just wanted to keep you up to date on that with another update, completely taking a 180 here. There was a piece of news that was announced this week that has to be my favorite piece of news all season. It has to do with Sesame Street and Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster will be the Grand Marshal saying the most famous words in motorsports this weekend at the Brickyard 400. And it's all part of Sesame Street's summer-long tour across the United States. And Cookie Monster has been gearing up for this. He's been preparing for this, sharing the screen with Bubba Wallace earlier this week to get ready for the Brickyard 400. I am so excited about this. I hope he has a cookie in hand when he's giving the most famous words in motorsports. I am so excited about the Brickyard in general. Well, Cookie Monster made it just a little bit better. Let's roll on into our hot topic for this race weekend, and for me, it's all come down to this: the finale of NASCAR's in-season tournament on TNT. It's the Battle of the Ties, Ty Dillon versus Ty Gibbs. For Ty Dillon, it's the Cinderella story nobody really saw coming. He's had to battle the first seed of Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, then John Hunter Nemechek to get to where he is. For Ty Gibbs, it's been defeating Justin Haley, AJ Allmendinger, Zane Smith, and Tyler Reddick to fight for the $1 million. Now, who has the upper hand? Who do I think will win the $1 million? It feels like a no-brainer, and I said this before, but I feel like Ty Gibbs has the upper hand here. Though Ty Dillon has more reps on the oval track, I would say that Ty Gibbs has the better equipment here. He qualified very well in last year's event. The result just didn't really show it. However, I think we're going to see Ty Gibbs win the $1 million here. But what do you think? Who's going to win it? Let me know in the comments below. This all leads into our track preview, starting off with the Truck Series at IRP. This is a .686 short track that is very, very narrow. You're going to see drivers pulling double duty this weekend. Ross Chastain not only racing in Cup at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but also in the number 44 truck for Nice Motorsports this coming weekend at IRP. Keep an eye out for Corey Day in the number 7 and Brennan Cleaner, Butterbean, in the 07 for Spire Motorsports this weekend. For the Cup Series, of course, we all know the Brickyard. It's a 2.5-mile oval that is very tricky and very technical. No corner is the same at that track, so these drivers and these teams are going to be fighting the balance of that car all weekend long. It is a brutal track, but it is an iconic one nonetheless. Keep an eye out for Jesse Love, who will be racing in the number 62 for Beard Motorsports this weekend. And keep an eye out for Catherine Lake, who will be pulling double duty this weekend, racing in the 78 for Live Fast and Cup, and the number 32 for Jordan Anderson in Xfinity. But where to watch these races, you gotta know. For the Truck Series, it's Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on FS1. For the Xfinity Series, it's Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the CW. And of course, for the Cup Series, the last race on TNT this year, it's Sunday at 2 p.m. on TNT. Which drivers are going to take home the trophy this weekend? Well, for the Truck Series, I struggled a little bit because, like I said, you have Chastain in the field, Day, you have Queen. I don't know between those guys. And then you look at Ty Majeski's track record here. Back-to-back wins at this track. Why not make it a third? I think Ty Majeski is going to win at this track 3 years in a row. For the Xfinity and Cup Series, let's say it all together, Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is going to be racing in the number 17 for the Xfinity Series this weekend. He's a shoo-in to win that race, I truly believe, if he stays out of trouble. And for the Cup Series, it'll be a bit of a challenge, but Kyle Larson and the Brickyard go hand in hand in the Cup Series. I think he's going to sweep the weekend for Xfinity and Cup. But who do you think will win this weekend at IRP and Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Let me know in the comments below. And thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of Pre-Race Pulse right here on Racing America every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, make sure to leave a comment on this video, like this video, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.